Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is to the rear. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next the approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Pshinski, seconded by Mrs. Riddell to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mr. Knight? Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. Pshinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Next, the approval of claims.
Make a motion we approve the claims. Second the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Pshinski, seconded by Mr. Fath to approve the claims. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. B?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Sewage Department head report.
What I got, the last 3 bags that have went out, sludge bags, have went out with an average of 17.5 tons. I finally got that dialed in with the flow meter, and we're making consistent bags. I'm right at the weight limit of the trucks, what they can haul, and that's really working good. Because we got to look at a year ago, we were limited to 12, 13 tons. So now basically every 2.5 bags are going out, we're using 1 less bag. So we're saving money. That's been real good. We had a guy from independent grit sampler and preliminary treatment specialist in last week. We ran a bunch of samples out of the effluent of the grit machine, the material that's being watered out, and also the influent, looking to determine what our issues are. The guy is a specialist in grit, and I haven't got his report yet, but he made the comment several times that he didn't think it was working right, based on what we were seeing. And what we basically did, we took 100 gallons of effluent after it's went through the grit system and went to the pump station. We kept grabbing 5-gallon buckets, let it sit a few minutes, dump the water off, take the material that settled in there. We made a composite out of that. He took that back to sample along with the other samples, and he was looking at that and saying there's way more material than what he had anticipated there would be.
On the effluent going out. And what percentage should it be?
Well, when they get talking microns and all that, I'm confused because you have microns are different. The higher the number, the smaller the pieces are, and what's the other?
Yeah, mesh size.
Mesh size. Mesh size is opposite, and they're talking back and forth with those 2 terms. I'm like, I don't know.
So I know when he sends us the report back, it'll have like a spreadsheet built out, and it'll have the different sizes, and then it'll have percentages. I think with those. So we should have that back. I called him today, so we should. I was expecting it back today, but it might be later this week because he kind of did this out of courtesy because he didn't charge us for the visit, so he's from Illinois. So
he told me he wanted to try and get it done before he went to Detroit later this week. He's going up there to do some work for the city of Detroit. So the guy's very knowledgeable. I had a good time with him. It's just hard to imagine where we were working, but you know, you learn a lot. The only other thing I have is I want to ask for a truck and get rid of that van. So I got the usual Ford Chevy quotes. And I guess there's one question, and that is, do we want to go V6 for economy or V8 in the Ford for possibility later on of putting a plow on it? They're both within $100 each other.
What's the van you're talking about, the box truck?
Yeah, it's $2,000. They're giving us a trade in it, which I think is better than taking bids on it. And what do we normally get, $300 to $500 on something?
Yeah, the van
is it? Yeah.
The doors are rotting off of the van. When you go around the corner of the box, it's shifting and the back door flies open. The alternator's out on it. The brakes we had problems with when Shelley was driving it towards the end. Now they're locked up.
Is there any, thought about getting another, this is a straight pickup, Dan?
Yes.
Any thought about getting another truck with boxes on it or something? Was that?
Look at,
like the setup?
mine's a 2009 and it's doing the same thing. The Chevy truck with the boxes, it's doing the same thing. When they start rusting out, you can't hardly stop it. What we did on the last one was we just put a toolbox in across the bed.
I know that, other than they rot out, I mean, the thing, you got parts, I think that one you could get parts on the inside or the outside, wasn't it? You know, I didn't know.
We're gonna keep the 09 with the boxes, you know, obviously as long as we can. That's set up with all of our fittings.
Is this the enclosed
Van,
van?
the van.
Right, okay.
Didn't they have some work done on that? On Bart was here?
There, yeah, when they first bought it, it wasn't
Yeah.
right. Took quite a while to get it fixed.
That's a 2005, the van is. Like I said, I could see putting some money in it if the box wasn't in such bad shape.
Because the whole point of that truck was the box.
Yeah,
Well, I know this is something Dan brought up, and we've been kind of pushing it. He's been sacrificing with it. I guess it's a running target because I think bigger than when Dan bring this up too, which is get up and there is going to be a need of a truck. And I think he brought it up in our budget meeting loosely.
yeah, we were looking at 50% or half split.
It wasn't brought.
No,
Yeah.
in the budget meeting, I don't
Yeah.
think,
But it's something we need to look at, you know, if this is gonna be a moving target, right, because he's getting prices, you know, this is a
Well, I
snapshot.
had a Chevy price last meeting and that got sold, so we're on the GMC price now.
So, I mean, this is something, Dan, we could wait till and figure out budgets, but it's gonna be I just want everyone to know it's gonna be he's brought it up to me a couple of times, it's gonna be a moving target on pricing. So these might be prices now, it could be different later. Because, you know, I think right now you're sharing vehicles and stuff like that and moving and trying to do your best you can shift them.
Yeah.
But if you do lose a truck, the impact is you're gonna have one vehicle for 3 guys, but.
Well, I got Dave and Adam splitting the use of the newest truck. Dave runs it in the morning and when Adam comes in, he runs it. And right now Eric's running with Adam. Would be nice to get a 4th vehicle and kind of distribute that out a little bit better. 'Cause that truck Adams is getting drove, you know, 10, 12 hours a day.
I guess the bottom line is that in the budget.
I was gonna ask
Yeah,
where we paying it out of.
Yeah, we'd have to look, this one would be something that'd come out of is that what comes out of a maintenance fund, or is that considered?
It's going to come out of utilities, it's new equipment,
I
or,
think we put a lot, we talked, because when we did the budget that day, we talked about a truck, but I don't remember what
We didn't really,
I remember talking about a truck.
Could it be taken out of both?
that's what I'm wondering, is it going to be split, cause, you know, with sewage being
Because
so
you'd
down.
be using it for both
How do you know, I don't,
departments.
when Umball does their rate studies, I don't know if is that money that's just drawn into your regular pool, or is that, does that make sense? Cause you have your 2 funds, you have your operating, and then you have the maintenance fund. When I'd be curious to look at that.
We'll have to look, because I know we talked about that. I don't remember where we put it,
a new vehicle.
when we did the budget.
I didn't know, I didn't know this was gonna be on.
Well, yeah, I say,
Moving forward, this
yeah,
kind
I
of
just
stuff
wanted
needs to be on
Dan-
the agenda, I just
Dan
wanted
brought
to
it
know
up
there.
to me, yesterday, he's been working on quotes moving,
Yeah.
but because of everything
Yeah.
that's going on, we've been kind of, Dan's been patient with me and pushing it out. But I would like to say, like, let's draw more attention to this, I guess at this point, we won't decide on it tonight.
Well, we got budget, we got budget numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got good round pricing, but Dan is it's something that's gonna be on the radar real quick.
Yeah, just let me know so I can put it on an agenda, so. moving
I think,
forward.
Why don't we put it on for next month? And you
Pardon me?
have
Yeah, this
this on next month, and then
We might be looking at different vehicles, that would be the only thing.
Yeah, well, and you could bring that for next month, and you would have more knowledge.
We know what we have budgeted.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know why, the other two trucks are V8s.
Pardon me?
The other two trucks are V8s, the other pickups, we have V8s.
Yeah, no, Adams is a V6, the two
Wow.
other ones are V8s.
The other two, so we have two trucks that can plow.
Yeah, well, my truck, is a V8 and that's two-wheel drive.
Okay, so we got one V8 plow.
That's what I said, I'm in.
I didn't know how many we had.
toss-up.
If we had two trucks that could plow, I'd say get a six-cylinder.
The plow truck that we have is a 2012, but it's only got 30,000 miles on it. So I hate to say, I wanna buy the Ford heavy-duty to replace that truck.
Right.
That thing, yeah, it's in good shape. I mean, I could easily see it running another 5-6 years, so.
Well, and so for next meeting, we'll just, I guess Lori, I will work with you too, if we can, yeah, for next meeting and then see how we would split it, how would we want to. It would be used for, what would it be used, split?
Water and sewer.
Water and sewer, just split
Yeah.
half, and then we'll look at it a little closer. And then if you can get more, kind of stay with these dealers and see what
What I've been dealing with lives right here in Westville. Rob from Harbor, and Harbor also owns a Ford, Ford dealership in Michigan, so he was able to get both of these. Originally, when I got them last month, it was a Chevy that we were looking at, but it sold, so he found a GMC to come into that dollar range of what the Chevy was. So, the Ford, he didn't say whether they've got a bunch of them or what, but, you know, we can go till next month, but it may be back to a Chevy on the GM day. I tried to cover both
And would
vehicles.
you have any objection to the Chevy?
No,
You just need a vehicle, right?
yeah, and I'm 50-50 on
Okay.
either way. Some respects, I would like the heavier duty truck with the ability to put a plow on, but then, you know, the one we've got right now is 8-9 miles to the gallon,
Yeah.
10 on the highway. The V6 that Adams' truck has got, we've been seeing 14 to 17 in it for mileage. When gas is 2 something a gallon, it's not a big deal, but if it goes back to 4, that's a big deal. So, I'm open either way.
Okay. Water,
I got a bunch for water.
okay, let her roll.
The alarm system, I have 2 quotes. One of them, I don't know what he was quoting, and the other one seemed pretty reasonable. And I emailed him back to make sure that he had got his figures right from Alert Alarm, and he emailed me back saying, yes, he did, he felt good with it. So, oh,
Okay.
I got a copy.
you can hear probably those. Alert Alarm is our current monitoring company, and that's who I went to first when we started having all the problems. And they said, well, we didn't put the system in, we just took it over and monitored it. So I said, well, give me a quote. And then I got a hold of the original company that put the system in, which is your second quote, Simplex. And you can see there was night and day difference in the pricing, so why I sent the guy the email back from Alert Alarm to say, and I'll read you the email. Hi Chris, just gave the council 2 quotes on the fire alarm system. Just want to make sure you are good on the price since it will be presented on April 11th meeting. If any changes, please let me know. Thanks, Dan. And he replied back, we should be good, sir. Thank you for allowing us to compete for your business. Please keep me informed either way.
And basically what you're having out there right now, Dan, is you've been dealing with a system that's sending out false alarms.
Right.
This started in the winter time, right, with your furnace.
With the furnaces, yeah. And it finally took, Justin Marks figured it out. We got into like the middle of December with no heat in there. And the tanks keep it relatively warm, keep it groundwater temperature warm. But I worked on the furnaces, I couldn't figure it out. They were losing power somewhere. Come to find out, the alarm system has a sensor in the furnaces for smoke. So all those smoke detectors in that building are like 16, 17 years old now. So they went bad. So they shut the furnaces down. So Justin bypassed one of them so we could get some heat in there. But we've got the two in the garage are going bad right now, and one of them above the filters is bad. So it's constantly showing every zone as a fire alarm. And you can't reset it. And when I undid the wiring to it, then my phone started burning up because the alarm company.
I think I did follow up with, I tried to reach out to some people it seems, I asked on the alert alarm system, and I was told it's probably the most cost effective and it is a good system. I tried to reach out to somebody else from the industry just to kind of, I'm not familiar with fire alarms, so I try to do my due diligence on that. But it is a need. I'm in favor of going with the alert alarm to get it resolved and fixed, so we do have an active fire alarm system in there.
Okay. So,
Make a motion, we accept the bid for alert alarm, and this would be, since this is an existing system, would this be out of the water maintenance, would this be considered a?
Well,
repair
maintenance,
rather than
yeah.
operating.
Yeah.
Take
A
the,
repair and maintenance, I mean,
Repair,
that's
yeah.
out of water.
yeah, right,
Is this gonna be out of water?
and then the monitoring would come out of operating. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's, so the total material labor cost for alert alarms is $6,161.85 to go out of maintenance and repair, out of water, and then the $49 per month will be out of water operating.
I'll second the motion. Motion made by Mr. Fath, second by Albert to enter into an agreement with Alert Alarm to put the new fire alarm system in at the water plant. $6,161.85. They have included tax, tax exempt, so it could be less than that, I'm guessing. It's just their stock thing, they say, but there's tax, it would be less than that. Be taken out of maintenance and repair, and then the monthly $49 a month monthly fee would be taken out of operating. Is there any discussion?
Well, can I use before we,
Yeah.
so when they get the invoice, if they need an ST-105, let's make sure they have it. If they need an ST-105, a tax exempt form, I wanna make sure they get it before we do the invoicing,
Okay.
so it's not.
They might have figured tax in.
Right.
Just so everybody's clear here, I mean, this is by approving this, you're agreeing to a 36-month monitoring contract. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Any other discussion or questions? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConic?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt? Yes. Ms. Krasinski? Yes. Albert votes yes, passes 5-0.
Yep. One more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. We talked about this about a month and a half ago. That is a meter reading system which will replace the handheld if the handheld's down, but it also does some other things with the belt clip unit that we bought. They used it, I think it was not last month, the month before. Adam said within a minute it had 190 meters read. It will work on a little bit different concept than the handheld. You will basically have all your meter books on a thumbnail or thumb card, and you plug it into the unit, walk out the door, and it's just boom, 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 meter reading. Where with the old one, we read both South Coast and the town. So he reads South Coast first, downloads it at the water plant, brings it down here, tries to load the town's books into the handheld, and sometimes that can be difficult. So by getting this, you'll have the redundancy of 2 units, plus from this standpoint, they don't ever have to use the handheld unless there's a problem with the other unit. They can use the thumb drive and just cut it in the morning, load it in, go.
And you've already
they might.
tried this out?
Yes, Adam has.
And it
I'm
worked?
not the meter guy. I'm just the one trying to tell you how good I think
And
it
it
is.
worked
Theirs was
well?
only one.
Yes.
Okay.
And one thing to bring up, so right now, currently, Dan, you rebuilt the meter, you have it working right now,
Yes.
right? So he has a meter existing right now.
Okay.
I think this would be a good thing, but, I think we gotta, as far as budget goes, we'd have to look at this. I think it's gonna be a good thing and we gotta have it in front of us, but this might be something we wanna build in the future. I'm just concerned because we got to be looking at all the costs.
Right.
Yeah.
And was that the $2,500 one? And what
So
we
he
had
did,
for
that, so he
rebuilding
spent, we spent, because we needed to do
Yeah,
that, because this
right.
is a need for Dan to do their job.
Yeah, our repair on the other one, I think, was 1,300.
Okay,
the-
$1,300. Okay, so I think this is a good idea to have as a budget item. I think right now, I think I think it would be good for maybe building in next year's cost or looking at if it's possible to float it in, but we gotta look at it with the truck, how that would take us, and then from there. It provides extra services and it's a great idea. I think it's Dan's idea of this thing is it's gonna save labor, probably, right? And it's gonna create efficiencies in our department, we gotta really look at it, and take seriously.
I think it's the next step in the meter reading that we have kind of been dragging our feet on. When Bart was here, we got the belt clip, which is great for the data logging and those type of situations. Adam's been using my tablet with the handheld and doing his data logging. This is, you know, we've had that handheld, well, I've been here 5 years, and we've had it since I was here. And this is obviously the next step in the technology. So,
I think it's something to look at, and maybe we can have another, Lori did pull together a lot of the budgetary items, on our water and wastewater, so we're starting to evaluate those, so I think it'll be something to look at and see how it builds in. Would this be an item that would actually go into operating or repair and maintenance, a handheld? Would this be considered an operating expense then?
if you're replacing the handheld completely, I think it'd be repair and maintenance, but I think you're gonna have to get it out of somewhere else.
It's a long term, it's not a recurring thing, it'd be an asset that you could almost probably take it out of
Wouldn't it be
Machinery
Yeah.
equipment,
equipment.
That's what I'm
that we
thinking.
have, okay.
but off the top of my head would be machinery equipment.
That's something let's look at that then. I think it's just, one thing Dan's bringing these to our attention, because these are just good things to have in front of us. The vehicle's probably most important, and then, from
I
there.
got one more thing, guys.
Okay.
Our VFDs are in, we're gonna be scheduled for that install. He said probably within the next 10 days. Once that's in and done, then I wanna schedule fire hydrant flushing. So, that's all I got.
Thank you, Dan.
Also, just while I'm thinking about it, I jotted it down, so we know we talked about before, South Coast's contract.
I sent off a letter to Attorney Hollenbeck, and he and I chatted about it, and he was supposed to get to his client and get back to us with some dates to meet, so
Okay.
they've been notified of it, we just need to schedule a meeting, hopefully we can do that between now and May.
Okay. We have.
Are we still, looking into the water tower? Tear down, or what are we?
Basically what we have to do is put the bid together. We got kind of rough quotes on it right now. We gotta pull together this, because it had lead paint on the outside, it's not as easy as just price. And it's gonna be a lot of coordination in it too, sensitive, because it being downtown and probably cranes being involved.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I heard there was another contractor interested, so I'm at the point that we should make specs. There was some questions of what we wanted done. Realistically, if it was, what I could do is take the tower down, leave the bases there, leave the pump station there. We'll cap the main and do that ourselves, and then I could get Butch Weston to pull the concrete pads out and the piping once we got the line completely killed. There's a shut-off valve next to the church that I can't get all the way off, so we may have to look at an Insta valve in there to shut it off, and then we could remove the bottom. So I think all we really are looking at from a contractor standpoint is just get it down to concrete pads, cut the base at ground level, the center tube, and then we would go from there.
Is that, what size line is that feeding at, a 6 or?
Yeah, I think it's a 6 coming in. I don't know what it is. Well, it's a 6 out in the street, so I can't imagine it would have been 8 from the tower to the street. But it's 6 coming in the hut. I've got it shut off in the hut, but I only got 3.5 turns on the valve in the yard by the church, and I didn't want to force it. By rights, that should be an 18-turn valve. Usually it's 3 to the inch size water main.
Yeah, that was probably never exercised. We used to have somebody come out that could do exercise valves.
I'm not even sure they knew that one was there.
Yeah.
We found it with a wand. So. But I mean, right now, that would be the only thing stopping me from saying, hey, let's bid complete demolition, dig the stands out and everything, be done with it, is we are live into that pump house.
Are they definite, are they positive that there is lead paint still on that?
Yes.
Okay. Good testing. Okay. The reason I was asked, because I remember at one time it was all sandblasted, but I don't know how far they went with it.
The guy from Utility Services did paint samples 3-4 years ago up there. Took them in and ran them, and they were lead based.
So, Jim, to answer your question, we still have more spec work to do on it. We got kind of ballpark what it's gonna be, it's just fine tuning that and kind of creating a bid document to protect ourselves and make sure that.
Is the contractor, something too, I would have a question, the contractor tears it down, they get the steel?
Yes,
Exactly.
that's Eisler's intention. And I have no idea why, but he's planning on taking it up on 20. I guess they had a better price than Paul's, but you would have thought cost-wise it'd be cheaper to take it to Paul's, but that offsets his bid price. What he gave us, he's taking into account that they're getting to keep the steel.
Okay. We have ordinance 2017-5. It's an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Westville, Port County, Indiana, affirming the rates, charges, and procedures for the use of fire hydrants. And what this is if someone wants to, a contractor or homeowner wants to draw water from the hydrant, it's basically the deposit for the year and their consumption. And it makes the amount, the deposit for the residential of $300, which I think is what it's always been, but raises the corporate entities up to $500 because we've had some skip down and the 5 will cover it. 3 won't as much.
Does that include the state of Indiana also?
Sure.
Remember last year?
Well, so, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just had a quick question on that. So is there like, we have the process is if somebody needs it, they come to the office. Is there a, and this might not be an ordinance change, but like a process to like where, you know, are we required to provide just the meter at the, is it just a meter that goes on the hydrant itself?
Yes.
And then it's their responsibility to take it from there,
Yes.
to get it to wherever destination it goes?
Yeah. Like contractors, normally they've got a
Right.
20-foot or 30-foot hose that they throw up in their tank or whatever.
No, they don't throw it in the tank. Gotta have an air gap.
Okay, they hook it to the truck,
Yeah.
but then like a homeowner has to, because you've got the fitting, it's got a garden hose, for a garden hose.
For the homeowners, yeah.
Homeowner.
Which are billed at different rates, base rates, because it's a different size
Okay.
meter.
Okay, that's the only question.
Yep.
And they pay the deposit, use the water, get a bill for the water, pay the water bill, and then they get their deposit back, a check for their deposit back. Do we need to read this entirety or by?
You do not.
Okay.
Do it by title only.
Okay. I'll make a motion, I thank you. I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2017-5 on the first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Mashinsky to approve ordinance 2017-5 on first reading. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mr. McConnell? Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Mr. Krasinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-5.
Second that.
Motion made by Albert, second by Mr. Krasinski to adopt, suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-5. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell? Mrs. McConnell?
Yes.
Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. Krasinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, streets.
Okay, what I got, Mike, is we got trouble with our salt this year because we had a mild winter. And since we're contracted with the state of Indiana, we got to take 80% of what we bid, and we've only used like 26 ton of the 175 ton that we bid, that we usually go through. So either we have to get it and store it somewhere, or they can charge us for storing it. And then they take away the trucking fees in the fall when they deliver it. Right now we get free trucking and we get a price for getting it delivered. So my salt building down there now is full. And so I was talking to Jim and Lori. The thing about putting another building next to the one we got there now, a little bigger building for the salt that we can have. I have to have it by July 26th of this year, have it delivered, or we get fined for it. And so I thought we could just put a pad down there for right now and put the concrete blocks around it to store it there. I mean, we could probably eventually put a structure on top of it. I talked with Lori. She talked to John Schaefer. So we probably take the money out of, what was it? Lower account.
Last year, that one-time special.
Which we would have the money to do, possibly do the whole thing. But right now, I just have to get the concrete in so it could get cured before we have to get the salt. I think it's going to pay for itself because next year we won't have to buy hardly any salt.
Right.
Which saves about $8,000 there. So we already had the bid for next year, so our minimum bid was 50 ton I put in for this year. So we have to take 80% of that, which is nothing. But we should be good for salt for at least a year or so.
We have to take 40 tons next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
a load and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
But I got a price for the pad from, would be the guy who does our sidewalks at UMC Concrete from Union Mills. It's going to be a 6-inch pad with fiber mesh and steel mesh in it too. It's going to be a 24 by 40. And it's for the concrete 6240 for just the concrete itself. And then also from Terry Zimmer, we get them concrete blocks. We need like 48 of those, and for make it double high, we can actually, after we put them in there, we can actually build off of them blocks to put something on top of that. And that was $1,200 for the blocks. Terry gave us a deal on that, thanks to Lori.
She's always finding. What, that 6240, does that include finisher, or we're going to?
That's everything done.
That's everything done?
Yeah.
So you're looking at about $7,440 or something like that, right?
Right.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we get the pad poured and the blocks from Zimmer.
Okay.
7440, looks like.
Okay, I'll second the motion. We have a motion made by Mr. Krasinski, second by Albert to approve the funding for the new 24 by 40 pad and then the blocks on it for the salt facility to be taken out of the Lowit fund.
And then on the next month, I'll try to get something what it costs us to put a structure on that.
Okay.
And the only thing I got left is I should
Oh,
think.
we gotta vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you want it, we'll vote.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, anything for you, Bubs? Any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Mr. Connick?
Yes.
Mr. Krasinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes. Okay, Bubs.
I'd just like to thank Tom and Jim Brzezinski for the maps I got finally. It's been like 34 years and I finally got some maps of the town.
And we'll thank you when we get the streets laid out for the whole repair work that we need to get our bid in for the state if they decide to offer free money. That's what we're working towards.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bubs. Anything else on streets? Okay, parks.
I've got nothing. I just had a question for Lori. Are we having more people book the pavilion for the summer?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
It's, yeah, usually beginning of May, we give them.
Okay. Do we have someone using it soon? Recent?
I don't know, I have to look at the calendar.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure we have a couple booked, but I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember the dates.
Just a reminder, we got that money from DOC
Mhm.
for equipment.
Yeah, I know. What I was looking into purchasing the equipment with the Birchfield Memorial.
Okay,
That's what they all said. So I mean, I can look into more stuff and things like that without a problem. I know that Darren and I had spoken about a surveillance camera in the park.
They came out, Martin Security did come out, and he kind of warned us ahead of time. It would be, he said it would cost thousands to put a camera out there. He said he gave a figure probably like 6,000 to 10,000.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty expensive. I guess the difference in the equipment that goes inside compared to outside and the trenching and stuff that they have to do is very expensive.
Yeah.
So I didn't pursue it too much more because of the price that he came in at. If you wanted to, I can put you in contact with him, but he was, a bargain, he said, would be 6,000.
I mean, would you think 6,000 is worth it if it would help you as well?
I don't know what your budget is for parks. I mean,
Well, I know it's not.
go ahead, Bob.
No, I was going to say, I talked to Darren about that with all the trouble we have down behind the park. It's usually where most of the trouble in the shelter. I asked David to help him if we could put some lights up down there to light it up, which we could do that. Because I changed all the other lights at the park over to LEDs, which is really brightens it up at nighttime now. But down at the other end of the park, there is no lights.
Yeah.
I mean, there's poles there. We can put some lights on there and turn them on for him. If that you think that'd be better, if you think that's gonna.
You know, that might be a good first step.
I mean, that wouldn't be that expensive.
Might be a little cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, that way you can put them on a couple poles down there. If we need 2 of them, light them up down there and see what happens. As you can see it from the road.
I think that'd be a great first
If
step.
we get the
and
council
then
wants to do that.
kind of curtails the vandalism. We can go from there.
So you just tell me if you want it done or not.
Yeah, that'd be great. Did you ever see that picnic table deep into the woods?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay. Is it any good?
They came in from the tractor pull tractor. I don't know how they got it in there. Yeah.
All right.
Anything else on parks? Police?
I had 397 total calls for service, 165 traffic stops, 71 community policing and business checks, 8 crashes, and sort of interesting, I don't know what's going on, but this year it's been consistent. We've had 1 pursuit a month since the beginning of the year. I don't know why. They just had mine yesterday. We had one the month before and the month before that, so I don't really know what's going on, but it's pretty unusual to have so many all in a row like that. Next is Clybourne Street. The church would like to do their bike rodeo again, and last year we closed Clybourne for them, and they're asking for the closure of Clybourne on May 6th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. so they can do their bike rodeo. I'll set the obstacle course up for them in the American Legion parking lot, and they'll be going back and forth between the church and the.
We did that last year.
Yeah.
Poured rain after
Yeah.
we got it set up.
So they're trying to do it with better weather this year. We didn't have any trouble with traffic or anything last year when it was closed off, so I don't see.
They did have an alternate day for rain.
Yeah, it's next weekend. It's the weekend after that. The Saturday after that, if there's a rain day, they'll carry on to the next Saturday. So if you guys are all right with that closure, I'd like to.
Yeah, it's recharging.
Yeah, anybody have any objections? Go ahead.
Okay.
Rodeo away.
And the last thing I have is actually Troy Webb. I asked him to come in today.
Anything else, Marshall? Okay, we have tonight's the night of ordinances. We have ordinance 2017-4, and it's an ordinance of the town council of the town of Westville repealing ordinance numbers 94-7 and 2009 and section 3161 of the Westville Town Code. You want to do a little background? Basically, we're going to the state of Indiana's curfew law. Right?
Yeah, this is, over the last several months, we've had conversations about some of the outdated ordinances and sections of town code that Darren and I and others have started working on trying to bring some of those up to date. The first 2 easy ones that we kind of picked out were the curfew ordinance that we had. Quite candidly, it was out of date. There's state law that covers this now. Believe it or not, there's been a lot of litigation over the last several years dealing with curfew for minors and First Amendment protections and making sure that's provided for. So we kind of have a little bit of a safe harbor there by just following state law and not having to deal with our own ordinance. In addition to that, there was an outdated section of the town code that required all bicycles within the town to be licensed. I'm sure that's not something that's been done for a very long period of time. So those were the first two sections that Darren and I had chatted about and thought we should address, so that's what that current ordinance does.
It's ordinance 2017-4. I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2017-4 on the first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Fath to approve ordinance 2017-4 on the first reading. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell.
Yes.
Ms. McConick.
Yes.
Mr. Fath.
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski.
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-4.
Second motion.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Fath to suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-4. Any other discussion? Mrs. Riddell.
Yes.
Ms. McConick.
Yes.
Mr. Fath.
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski.
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. I think this is one of the few times we've ever voted on an ordinance to repeal ordinances. Doesn't happen very often. That's why places
It may
have.
happen a little more frequently now.
Good.
But we start
I
working on
read
this.
where places have laws like, you know, you can't let you know, ride your pony in school on Thursdays or something like that. So
Yeah.
we're gonna eliminate that.
Snake on a leash.
Snake on a leash. I wish I thought of that.
It's actual, fake news.
That's a lot of that lead, yeah.
Okay, if nothing else on police, we have finance. We have a major moves money transfer to the general fund. And basically what it is, the major moves account is dormant. There's a very small amount, there's interest in there, that we will transfer and we'll move it to just into the general fund. So,
But
we just need to,
you need to make a motion.
oh, that's all we have to do? Okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we move the major moves money into the general fund to transfer.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Fath to move the major moves money transferred into the general fund. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConick?
Yes.
Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. Dean?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0.
And for the record, I think it was $21.85. Just for record.
Same guy.
That's the interest.
Mom's gonna get a new pair of shoes. Okay.
Or a shoe.
Or shoes. Yeah, if they're Nikes, order a shoe. Next, ordinance 2017-3, and it's an ordinance, it amends ordinance 2016-10, which is the schedule of fees for zoning, planning and approval, right?
Right. And this is just a correction to 2016-10, clarifying actually the fees that apply to residential variances. It just, the language could have been a little bit more clear, so we caught that, and that's why we're making the change here, to make sure it applies to all residential variances.
Okay, I'll read my title. Ordinance 2017-3. It's an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Westville, LaPorte County, Indiana, amending ordinance number 2016-10 entitled an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Westville, LaPorte County, Indiana, establishing a schedule of fees, charges, and expenses for location improvement permits, certificates of occupancy, certificates of compliance, applications for rezoning, application for variances, for use variance, appeals from decisions of the administrator, and other zoning and planning approvals. I will make a motion that we approve ordinance 2017-3 on the first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Pachinski to approve ordinance 2017-3 on the first reading. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConick? Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes. Passes 5-0. I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-3.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Pachinski to suspend the rules and adopt ordinance 2017-3. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConick?
Yes.
Mr. Fath?
Yes.
Mr. Pachinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Okay, next is sick time and personal time. Regina and I and Lori have been working diligently and spent a lot of time on different things on our new personal handbook. A lot of brainstorming, kicking ideas back and forth. Clerk's office has been great at typing and making changes we needed and all sorts of things, so it's been quite a labor we've had. What we wanna do now, because we should hopefully next month have
The rest of the handbook,
rest of the
send it all
handbook.
to you for review. These two papers wanted to get.
Yeah, we did bring, I think we did bring this up to everybody, did we send an email on this part?
Yes.
And it's a person, an employee will get 1 day per month sick time, so they accrue 12 a year. But we want it where they can use 5 of those sick days a year for personal time. We don't have personal days where they can use one of their sick days for personal issues, whether it be someone in the family sick or anything. So I'd like to make a motion that their sick time, their 12 sick days a year, that 5 of those can be used as.
There were several provisions that were part of this, right? Wasn't it? The sick time was part of it.
Well,
There was
the reason I wanted to do the sick and personal time, because I need to, you're going to make that retroactive January, correct? And I need to get my personnel records up to date. So, but the rest of the handbook isn't quite ready yet.
right. I thought we were just going to consider a couple of specific sections. It was dealing with the sick time and personal time. That was it. Yeah. So I mean, that's language that's been drafted. So your motion would just be to approve the language as drafted.
Right. And he checked it. He even did. Yeah. He reviewed that section. And
okay. So approving that section pertaining to sick and personal time. I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mrs. Riddell to approve that portion of the new employee handbook pertaining to sick time and personal time. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConick? Mr. Fatt?
Yes.
Mr. Wyszynski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Next, the employee evaluations. That was also part of our discussion. I think everybody should have gotten copies of the
I sent an
evaluation
email.
forms.
I got one feedback from Tom, and he checked that it was good.
So,
And Regina replied to yours, so.
yeah.
I think it's good.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve that. Those
Form,
forms.
right,
yeah.
Employee evaluations, that everybody got.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, second by Mrs. Riddell to approve the employee evaluation forms. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Riddell?
Yes.
Ms. McConick?
Yes.
Mr. Fatt? Yes. Mr. Wyszynski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 5-0. Something that just, I don't know how many people know that, but Eugene Freeze, Gene Freeze was on the town council, served from 1998 to 2000, passed away last week in Tennessee where he lived, so yeah, Gino was a good guy. Him and I came on the council together. We had a lot of disagreements, but when we walked out that door when the meeting was over, we left it here. And I learned a lot from him, and I hope he learned some things from me. I always want to think he did anyway, but he was a good council person I got along with. And he did a lot of good for the town, and I know Regina knew him, and Jim knew him. I don't know if you ever knew him or not, but he was a good guy. So, and well, it was also several months ago. I just happened to see the obituary recently. Jim Byers, who was on the council, passed away. Bubba knew him from the fire department. He was on the council, I think, one term, and was on the fire department for. He was on the planning commission. I don't know if he was involved with the Legion. But he was active in a lot of things in town and was kind of the old gruff guy that liked kids, I guess. He was. So I just wanted to mention that with the last two former council in the last month or so. Okay, citizens' comments. Oops. I thought Mark had his hand up.
No.
Anything else? I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Wyszynski to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourns at 7:53.
I'm coming to give you.